I mean, and here's more of what bothers me now about this list. So, all right, 40 is the Mandible Claw, fine. 39 is Shake, Rattle, and Roll for Honky Tonk Man, fine. Yeah. I guess I think the Rude Awakening looked like a million times better, but what do I know?
Wait, so where's the Rude Awakening in contrast to
Rude Awakening's
Shake,
number
Rattle,
45.
Roll? Is what?
Number 45.
And Shake, Rattle, and Roll is lower or higher?
It's higher up on the list. It's 30.
See,
39.
That's ridiculous.
Right.
And Rude was a bigger star than Honky Tonk, easily.
I mean, I guess they want to play up that, Honky Tonk Man was the Intercontinental Champion for 15 months, and he did it with the Shake, Rattle, and Roll, because that's a devastating maneuver. I don't know.
And Honky Tonk Man, he talks nothing but trash about the company, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Anyway, number 38 is Yokozuna's Banzai Drop.
Right.
Now, I don't know how many people were watching wrestling in the early 90s when Yokozuna was an active member of the roster. Like, a 650-pound guy jumping off of the second turnbuckle and landing on your chest. I'm convinced that would be, in the top 5.
Honestly, who has kicked out of that? Was there a moment where someone finally kicked out of that?
I don't remember anybody ever kicking out of it. The closest thing we had was he fell off the ropes when he was fighting Steve Austin in King of the Ring 96. He fell in WrestleMania 10 and Brett pinned him. And
I was there.
In, what was it, Survivor Series 1993, he was fighting Undertaker. He gives him the Banzai
the casket match.
No, this is when they first encountered each other. It was in Survivor Series. He gives him the Banzai Drop, and he gets up to do a second one, and he gets up, climbs the turnbuckle again, and then Undertaker sits up as he's coming down for the second one, and and is completely unfazed by it. And that was what ignited the feud between them. The Undertaker came after him and was like, "All right, I'm the Undertaker. I'm gonna destroy you." And then that.
Right. So
elsewhere.
People have no-sold it or avoided it, but no one's ever.
No one's ever. I don't remember anybody ever kicking out of it. So that's the Banzai Drop. Number 30, and this is the biggest FU, I think. Number 37, Flash Funk's 450 Splash.
Well, first of all,
Flash Funk.
Much love to Scorpio, an amazing wrestler and a good 450, but the best 450. Are you laughing that he's on the list or that his 450 is over other people's?
Both. That he's on the list and that he's on the list above Yokozuna. That the Banzai Drop is not as powerful a maneuver as Flash Funk, not Too Cold Scorpio, but Flash Funk, that incarnation of that guy.
I think you're too hung up on what's more powerful as they're saying what are the greatest finishers.
What makes a finisher great, though? This is what I'm saying.
It's probably a combination of things. Now, I'm not saying I'm not with you on it, but, okay, here's what I want to know. If the Banzai Drop is so low, where's Rikishi's version of the Banzai Drop?
We see now. I would say I'm okay with Rikishi's version of the Banzai Drop being less spectacular because he didn't weigh as much as Yokozuna.
Well, is it on the list?
I don't believe so. No.
Let's break down the top 10.
No, he's not. It's not on the list.
Let's break down the top 10. Let's see what's going on.
You
want
to jump right to the top 10?
Yeah, let's jump right in.
All right.
I mean, unless there's any more atrocities that you want to get out there.
There aren't a lot. I mean, there's for example, Rey Mysterio's 619 is on there. Rey Mysterio hardly wins with the 619.
See, the 619 is just a setup to his ever-changing actual finisher because it was the West Coast pop and then dropping the dime. Then it was the splash off the ropes, now the splash off the corner. I'm not saying any of those are bad. It's just the 619 is just a flashy little setup, and it's, always, well, regarded. And I think it's ridiculous, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, so we'll jump right to the top 10, because, and by the way, I don't know why. Well, we'll get to that in a second. So number 10 is The Sharpshooter by Bret Hart. Fine. Okay. I'm completely for that. Number 9, ahead of The Sharpshooter, is Jimmy Superfly Snuka Superfly.
No.
Why?
No.
what did Jimmy Snuka do? Like, I'm not saying he wasn't a talented guy, but when you look back on his career, he didn't really have a staggeringly good career. Like, he was
he's known for his match with Morocco at Madison Square Garden, mostly because friggin' Mick Foley was there. Honestly, look, I love Jimmy Snuka. I loved him as a kid. I think the big deal with the WWE loving him so much is that he was the first, like, I guess high flyer, but he did one top rope move, really?
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, I understand that was the high flyer thing back then, was if you did one move off the top rope, you were a high flyer. But, quote-unquote.
Look, if that's so high up on the list, okay, where is the 5-star frog splash?
We get that. That was somewhere, I think, in the 32. RVD's 5-star frog splash. And then Eddie Guerrero's number 13.
Yeah, I see that I guess they're going for historical with the Jimmy Snuka because the frog splash is just a better version of a top rope splash. I mean, RVD's version is the best version if you look at it.
Well, then,
look at,
doesn't that put
devastating looking.
Doesn't that put the 450 splash up there as well?
Sure, but not Flash Funk's version.
Yeah.
Who cared about Flash Funk?
I know. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Well, I think. Here's the thing with the 450. They wanted the 450 on the list, obviously. It's a move that's great. But think about who's still good with the company that did the 450. Paul London, they hate him, and he hates the WWE, so they're not going to put him over. Who else did the 450? Juventude? No. Who else in the WWE did the 450?
Did Kidman? Kidman did a 450.
Kidman did the shooting star press.
Okay, I had that backward. Yeah, no, I'm out of ideas for the 450.
So did London. London did the shooting star forever until he came to WWE, and that was Kidman's deal, so he had to stop using it.
All right, well, let's move on with this list. Number
8.
Nature Boy Ric Flair's figure 4 leg lock.
Okay, understandable. Something else had to be number 9, honestly, but sharpshooter, figure 4.
Number 7.
Progression.
Number 7, Hogan's leg drop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be in the top 10, you know? It's just a leg drop, but it was just think about the meaning behind that.
Yeah. Number 6, Shawn Michaels' Sweet Chin Music.
Now, this is where I have a problem.
Okay.
The Sweet Chin Music should be in the top 3 because it has everything. It has all the elements of a great finisher. It can be done on anyone of any size. It can come out of many different. It can come at you many different ways. You can reverse into it. It can come out of nowhere. It looks devastating, and it looks good and flashy, and it has a setup. The famous "how you look to say this is it" moment where they're setting up for their finisher. It has everything you need. And tell me what the next one is, and I guarantee you it's better than that.
You see, you might actually be wrong on that one.
Well, I remember looking at this list, and I remember looking at it and saying that
this one is definitely open for debate.
Well, I think 5 is the DDT, right?
Next is Jake the Snake Roberts DDT.
That shouldn't be 5.
I definitely think if there's something you were going to put above the Sweet Chin Music, it would be a DDT. Like the original DDT.
That's fine. Now, what's the next 4?
All right, the next 4 is the Rock Bottom and People's Elbow.
Okay. There's no way on this earth that should be above the Sweet Chin and the DDT.
I agree, but from
that is 6, and then Sweet Chin DDT.
From the WWE being their own greatest mark, though, having to say that The Rock, who's the greatest of all time, the most electrifying superstar, and then calling the People's Elbow the most electrifying move, you have to put it up there as high as you could possibly cram it. And unfortunately, it's number 4 because number 3 is the Pedigree.
Oh. Okay, right. Number 2 is a Tombstone. Number 1 is a Stunner, right?
Right.
Right.
The Stunner, I'd absolutely agree with.
Stunner is all those things that I mentioned with Shawn Michaels' Sweet Chin Music.
Right.
Stunner has that, and it's Stone Cold. I have no problem with that. Tombstone to me is the most devastating in my opinion, so that's easily number 2.
I mean, it killed Steve Austin.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
But then number 3 should be the DDT. Number 4 should be the Sweet Chin. Number 5 should be the Rock Bottom People's Elbow. And number 6 should be the Pedigree. That's how they should change the whole deal.
No. I put the leg drop above the pedigree.
I can go either way on that, but I do like the pedigree.
And I would probably put Ric Flair's figure 4 above the pedigree.
You just hate Triple H.
So you put the sharpshooter beneath the pedigree? The sharpshooter? Bret Hart's sharpshooter?
I think you're right about that. I think I got to put the sharpshooter above the pedigree.
And I feel like honorable mention, it's worth mentioning, Macho Man's elbow off the top rope is number 12 on this list. You think the pedigree is a better move than Macho Man's elbow?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's you gotta kind of separate the wrestler a little bit and just focus on the move, I guess.
But I mean, lots of wrestlers have done elbows off the top rope, but this is the Macho Man elbow off the top rope.
Right. So if there's gonna be an elbow on this list, it's gonna be Macho Man's and his alone. But it doesn't have to be super high. It can just get a respectable place on the list.
So yeah, these are some examples of my gripes with this list.
All right, well, I'll tell you how I would switch around the top 10 a little bit right there. Otherwise, the right moves were in the top 10, except the Superfly out of left field.
Well, you're forgetting a move here that I think is a pretty great move to see, and unfortunately, it's not here.
On the list at all?
It's on the list, but it's low. Brock Lesnar, F5, number 29.
I think that's top 30s. Yeah, okay.
I need to remind you that Superfly Jimmy Snuka's number 9.
All right. I mean, I would put the F5 a little higher, but, we could sit here and talk all day on how the Superfly is in the top 10. And it's
you know what? I want people listening, I want them to email us. I want them to email, give me your top 10 best finishing moves in wrestling. And you can include any ROH, NWA, whatever you want. Throw it in there. Show@m2j.us.